That's not good. The camera's frozen. Hold on. Bear with me 1 second. We are having technical difficulties. Webcam. Oh, that's not correct either. Oh, there we go. Okay, I fixed it. The camera is frozen. It is overheating a little bit. But I think we're up and okay. All right. Here we are. So today I am going to be sculpting a piece of what I would call American folklore. I wouldn't refer to it as a cryptid per se, because cryptids are kind of, I always think of cryptids as something that have a sighting or specific events that are very important to its development. Like, oh, these people in this specific area had this event happen. So I would call this more American folklore than cryptid. It comes from, well, I think it appears in folklore elsewhere, but the first notable appearance of this, it's called the Squonk. It is a creature supposedly from Pennsylvania. It appears in a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwood. It was written in 1910. So I have a text from this book in front of me. Thankfully, it is public domain, so I was able to find it. We're going to read that, and I am going to sculpt my take on the Squonk. I will say I couldn't find a ton of details on its actual appearance. Most people seem to think it's very pig-like. However, earlier, like this text here actually doesn't give a whole lot of detail. Its behavior is more recorded than its appearance. There is a sketch, that is the one I used for the thumbnail, that comes from the book. But that is the main one. All of the others look very different, and everyone kind of takes their own perspective on what the Squonk looks like whenever they do it. So we're going to read the little excerpt that comes from the 1910 book Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwood. It is titled The Squonk, Lacrima Corpus Dissolvens, which is a fake Latin name. I think lacrima is tears, corpus is body, and dissolvens is like to dissolve, and there's a reason for that. The range of the Squonk is very limited. Few people outside of Pennsylvania have ever heard of the quaint beast, which is said to be fairly common in the hemlock forests of the state. The Squonk is of a very retiring disposition, generally traveling about at twilight and at dusk. Because of its misfitting skin, which is covered in warts and moles, it is always unhappy. In fact, it is said, by people who are best able to judge, to be the most morbid of beasts. Hunters, who are good at tracking, are able to follow the Squonk by its tear-stained trail, for the animal weeps constantly. When cornered and escape seems impossible, or when surprised and frightened, it may even dissolve itself into tears. Squonk hunters are most successful in the frosty moonlit nights, when the tears are shed slowly and the animal dislikes moving about. It may then be heard weeping under the boughs of dark hemlock trees. Mr. J.P. Wentling, formerly of Pennsylvania, but now at St. Anthony Park, Minnesota, had a disappointing experience with a Squonk near Mount Alto. He made a clever capture by mimicking the Squonk and inducing it to hop into a sack in which he was carrying its. Okay, let me reread that sentence. I apologize. He made a clever capture by mimicking the Squonk and inducing it to hop into a sack in which he was carrying it home, when suddenly the burden lightened and the weeping ceased. Wentling unslung the sack and looked in. There was nothing but tears and bubbles. So that is the entirety of the entry. Now, some other sources say that the Squonk has like webbed left feet, but only left feet, and its right feet are not webbed. Some of them say it's very pig-like. The only thing we have here in the way of description is that it always cries, looks very sad, and its skin does not fit very well. And that's literally all we have. We don't know if it's like quadruped, or we assume it's quadruped from the drawing. There is a drawing, or like a woodcut, might be a woodcut print that goes along with it, in which it looks a bit dog-like to me, actually. So we're kind of going to be taking a lot of artistic liberty with the design. That is the entry we're kind of basing this off of. So I did look, and if you look at the Wikipedia page for this, they mentioned that in science there's a couple different things that dissolve that have started to be called, used versions of the word squonk in them, specifically because of the lore of the squonk, which I thought was kind of cool. I always love it when science pulls names from mythology. It's always fun. But I need to do a little more research on the history of this particular book. I want to see if I can acquire a copy of it. If not, it's public domain, so I can find free stuff online. But I like having actual physical books. But I think it might be fun to do more creatures from this book. I believe the Squonk is one of the most popular. I don't know all the creatures included in this one, but it's a book of folklore and folk tales. Basically, it's like not an anthology, a collection of creatures with little entries about this long. This one's only a page, so. Now I think we're gonna have our little Squonk sitting up. And I keep smoothing the skin, but in reality, I probably shouldn't be doing that, because he's just gonna be insanely wrinkly. We're just gonna have to make him look sad, and I'm gonna use, after I paint him, when we're doing the second part next week, I will be using UV resin to create tears. So we've just got to make him look very sad. I'm probably going to go for an ugly cute kind of look, kind of like pugs and stuff. If you think pugs are cute, don't be mad at me. I think they're cute. I just think they're kind of ugly too. Same thing with full-blown Persian cats, not the more traditional Persian. They have the smush faces. They're so adorable and kind of ugly at the same time. So I'm gonna go for an uglier version of something like that, where it's like, it's kind of cute, but kind of like, I don't know. Just because I make everything cute, you know? Okay. So I think it's gonna be sitting up like this. Okay. Its eyeballs need to be right about here. Okay. So let's bring out, we could bring out the lower part of the face here a little more. The nice part about this creature is that I don't have to make the skin smooth, because it's literally not supposed to be. I forgot to get all my tools out prior to starting. Okay, a lot of people gave it a snout, so we'll go that route. Okay. So let me see here. Need to do ridges like this. Ridges like this. I'm also trying to think of like how hairless cats look, which I think they're also really adorable, but kind of ugly. Now, this does remind me of the Never-Ending Story. In the Never-Ending Story, there are the worm things whose tears I think create silver and beautiful things, but they cry because they're so ugly, and then he turns them into beautiful butterflies, and then they're like frivolous and useless after that. I don't know if Michael Ende got inspiration from this or if he came up with it on his own. I'd have to look at the history of like when the books were written. Considering I think the book was originally in German, I highly doubt. I think it was German. I highly doubt that he did get inspiration from the Squonk, but when I was reading about it, I kept thinking, oh, that reminds me of the little butterfly guys in the Never-Ending Story. I love that book. It's so good. I will be getting a new microphone very soon. Hopefully next week, maybe not. And I will be doing maybe a sub channel. I'm not positive yet, but I'm going to see if I can organize it as a sub channel where I read audiobooks. And I may very well read this book, The Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwood, because it's looking pretty cool. And it's public domain. So I may read that as part of it, but we'll see. Okay. Now, let me see if he's going to have a snout. There we go. Do it like that. Okay, and I want to give him little cheeks. Even though that might be breaking the ugliness there. Like I said, we're doing ugly cute. He's pretty vaguely described, so I feel justified in making him how I want. Our little Squonk. I mostly just want to make him really sad and make him, you know, cute to the point where you're like, oh, poor little guy. I don't think I've seen the Squonk in any sort of media that I can think of. Like I said, the only thing that came to mind was the Never-Ending Story, which is not the same thing, I don't think, at all. It may have been inspired by, but, you know, different country entirely that the book was written in, so I don't think it is related. Okay. Alright, let's give him a little bit of a chin right here. I've been going through and trying to read more traditional fairy tales. And stories that I'm familiar with. So, like, I read The Life and Adventures of Pinocchio, the original story. I don't remember the Disney cartoon that well to compare so much, but I do think the original was a bit more violent and dark in some spots. Although the donkey scene didn't scare me quite as much in the book as it did in the cartoon when I was little. It was very sad in the book, but it wasn't as distressing. Okay. We're going pretty well with the face. You look very sad. I don't even think the description says if he has ears or not, but we're gonna assume that he does have ears. Alright, so let's try making some skin wrinkles up here. This is honestly going to be the hardest part of this sculpture, is just making all the wrinkles. I'm thinking about giving him almost cow-like ears. I don't know. Or like goat ears that kind of stick out but can kind of droop. Alright, let's see how we want to do these ears. So you can probably see my little desk mat starting to get a little icky. I also have a new one coming soon that I designed and had printed. And then I have a clear piece that I'm going to put over top, so hopefully the desk mat does not get damaged. And I picked something that's a little darker. That way it'll contrast better with the sculpture and you can see it better, and it'll match my color scheme a little better too in my design. So hopefully I'll get that soon. I don't know when. Don't know if it'll be by next time. It might be. It might not be. I have to go look at the shipping again. But yeah. So I'm trying to improve things because I had a tiny bit of, well, I don't really have much extra money, but I could afford to spend a little bit. And now I can't afford to spend any, but I did that in the microphone to hopefully improve, the setup a little bit. Okay, we need to do this like so. Do our second ear. Okay, we're going to put the ear there. And there. Hold up, actually. Move the ear forward a little. Move the skin wrinkles forward. Okay. And we're gonna this. All right. There we go. We're doing pretty well with his little face. Okay. Let's do another ridge on his head of skins. Okay. Okay. Smooth this out a little on this side, and then we'll use the tools to smooth out the interior side. Because my fingers are a little too large for that. Here we go. He's got lots of little wrinkles all over his face. All right. It doesn't actually say that the squonk is quadrupedal, but all the drawings I think were, so let's see if I can do him in a sitting position. this on the counter and smooth it out. All right. So I think what we're going to do is the legs. Let's do the front legs because that should balance us out a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna make one leg up like this. See, his left one, yeah. The webbed one's gonna be up like so. Then this one's gonna be down, but we'll have to make it longer. There we go. Okay. All right, I think we'll do like 3 toes because that's probably the easiest foot type to do. You can just do it like this, where you roll out a piece of clay, you pinpoint the edges like so, and you grab a third piece of clay and you make the middle toe. And, you know, instant 3-toed foot fairly easily. So this one is going to be on this foot. I think we're going to have to bend it slightly because I think it doesn't quite reach the ground. Maybe he should have stubby toes. Maybe frog-like toes. I think we'll reshape these and not make them pointy. I think we'll make them frog-like. So these are going to be unwebbed. And then his left feet will be webbed. There we go. Frog-like toes. And then we'll do the other one. Same design, but webbed. So. So bad. I have to keep reminding myself, like, I have this mat that has that centerpiece for a reason. I have to keep reminding myself to not take things out of the center where you can't see them. Because I keep wanting to sculpt back here. But then if I sculpt all the way back there, nobody can see what I'm doing. It's just such a bad habit of pulling stuff directly in front of me and out of camera view. Alright, so then we do the webbing for this foot. Alright. Okay. And then we're going to try to blend a little bit of this in here. Like so. For the webbing on this foot. Okay. That way he's holding his little webbed foot up. Okay, so now we got to do the back legs. As you can see, this is what we have of our little Squonk so far. He's got his left foot webbed. Although the original account didn't say that, I saw that elsewhere, so we're going with it. Because I don't have too much to go on for this little guy. Okay. And I'm thinking maybe the feet on the side need to kind of like stick awkwardly out. We'll see. So kind of do this kind of deal. And then we're going to do the other side, and then we'll attach his feet. Okay. 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 Now we got to do the feet for the back. Then we're going to do all the lots of wrinkles and little warts and things. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there is one back foot. And we shall do the second back foot now. Oh. And we'll try to smooth out a little bit and add the wrinkles and the warts as we go. Okay. Okay, now we got to do the webbing on this foot. Now I do think we might be okay. We might have to add some a toothpick or something, and actually I'll just go ahead and do that. This arm ain't gonna stay up. Okay, there we go. We have one webbed foot, one not webbed foot. Okay, I think we're gonna do it like this, so the feet kind of cock out sideways. Like that. Okay. All right, so we have our basic shape here. Here's what we have so far for Mr. Squonk. Now I think we're going to go ahead and start adding some more wrinkles to the body. Smooth out some of the skin here. Smooth out the skin so that we can make it more wrinkly again. But if I leave it, there's a difference between messy and wrinkly, so I gotta make sure I'm not doing one over the other. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we gotta do more wrinkles. Sorry. I guess I should probably do a bunch of these and then smooth them out all at once. That'd probably save time and be smarter. Okay. Now we got to smooth this one. All right. This feels like the difficulty of creating fabric folds. Really bad at that too. Okay, we gotta do a couple more wrinkles on the back. Kind of see how we're going here. Another little one over here, like this. And then we'll do this here, kind of like the skin is sagging and hanging off. Okay. I was just thinking, I don't even think that book description that we read earlier, I don't even think it gave the size or dimension of the squonk. So we don't really even know how big it is. It just said the creature was shy and retiring, and that a guy could potentially catch it in a sack, but it could be anything from the size of a squirrel to the size of a large pig or a dog. Okay. I think I may try the technique where you go over it with oil to kind of smooth some of this skin out a little bit. Obviously, we're keeping the wrinkles. I just don't want any of the tool marks, is the main thing. Or finger marks where, we don't want those. All right, so that's the skin on the back. Very sad. Webbed left feet, very sad. Very loose skin. I think I shall leave the feet and hands with the skin looking fairly normal. And I think we'll just do wrinkles on the tummy here. So. Okay, now let's blend some of these in. Add some wrinkles to the neck. Big skin folds. Like so. Oh, I do also, I forgot to mention earlier, I do have some more videos specifically coming out. Hopefully this week, next week. I was gonna try to hold off. Oh, hey, nice to see you. I didn't even notice the comment. Sorry. Hopefully it wasn't too long ago. Um, it's nice to see you. I'm almost done with this one, actually. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I have some new videos coming out soon. I finished up an SCP the other day, off video, off live video. But yeah, I get focused to my sculpting and I forget that I'm supposed to be talking and or looking at the screen. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. But yeah, I have some more stuff coming soon, but I was trying to hold off till I got the newer microphone, which will hopefully be even better than this one. We'll see. I am still learning a lot about audio setup. See our sad little guy, our Squonk. We're working on all his skin folds. Yeah, he's supposed to be really ugly, so I'm going for ugly cute. Because I don't like making things just completely ugly. But yeah, the whole thing with the Squonk is just that they're so ugly and sad that they cry about their appearance and then they dissolve into tears. It's from a American folklore book from the 1900s. But yeah, I was like, I want to go for ugly cute. Makes me think of like, you know, hairless animals and such. So I was like, all right, we're going to make him ugly, but we're kind of going to try to do really sad, pathetic eyes so that you feel kind of sad for him and he looks a little bit cute. Just a little bit. But yes, he's technically supposed to be ugly. And I never realized how hard it is to sculpt wrinkles and skin folds. Yeah, I like his little face. I was trying to make him look really like pouty face cute. Because there wasn't a whole lot to go off of for the appearance. There's plenty of artist renditions, but the actual texts that mention the Squonk don't, they don't give too much detail on specifics. They just say, oh, it's got really loose, wrinkly skin and webbed left feet or something, and that's all they tell you. Um, so I kind of had freedom to do the face however I wanted. He is supposed to have warts as well, so I'm going to have to add some of those in a little bit here. I think I'm going to do some mostly just on the arms, because I don't want to detract from the skin texture that I'm doing. Alright, let's see if I can smooth this out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what color to paint him, to be honest. I didn't see any details on color. Most people do like a sort of off, kind of like my skin tone, with a little bit of like brownish or greenish color mixed in. But the actual text from the fearsome creatures of the Lumberwood doesn't mention color at all. It doesn't mention size. Um, so I'm not sure what color to paint him. I think most people are giving him very pig-like features. I kind of went pig frog sort of, but yeah, there's no guidelines on the color that I saw. So I don't know what we're going to paint him. Not sure what would look good. I am open to suggestions on that. Alright, now we gotta put some little warts on his arms. I'm not gonna do too many of those. Make it a little smaller. Maybe one on his ear. I think I'm kind of going for a very toad-like look. Yeah, I'm almost thinking maybe an off, like a beige with like green highlights a little bit, like a dark mossy green. I don't know. I'm not sure what would look good for color. I'm gonna have a whole week to think about it, but Jack Stauber. I don't know that name offhand. Is it an artist or... Hold on. I shall ask Google. Unless you tell me before I Google it. Jack Stauber. Oh, he's an animator. Okay. Okay, yeah, I could see that. Okay, that's cool. I saw it said musician and animator. That is cool. Dang, he's the same age as me. I feel old. That's cool. I've never seen this stuff before. I'll have to look up more of it later. I've toyed with claymation a little bit. It is very fun. It's very time consuming, but it's fun. Alright. I think I still have my claymation clay somewhere. Maybe I don't. It might have dried out. I've gotten more into hand-drawn animation than claymation, although I don't know. I don't know which one is easier. They're all very time consuming. Most likely better. I probably have and just didn't know it. I know a ton of music without knowing the actual people who've done the songs. It's kind of like I've probably seen his work before and just not known it was him. It's one of the sad things with art and stuff is a lot of times you'll hear like a song or a poem or a quote and you're like, oh yeah, we all know that quote, yet not one of us can be like, oh yeah, I know who said it. There's another one. We'll add some more little bumps and stuff on his arms. Yeah, the main thing this creature reminded me of was the I don't know if you've ever read The Neverending Story, but there are a race of beings in The Neverending Story who, much like the Squonk, I think they were worms in the book though. They weep all the time because they're so hideous and they hide at night. And he uses his wishes to turn them into butterflies. But their tears were like silver, I think, and made beautiful things, which is not. The Squonk doesn't get that, unfortunately. He doesn't serve any purpose, unfortunately, according to the mythology. But I don't know if the book drew inspiration from the Squonk. I'm not sure which came first. I actually I think the Legend of the Squonk came first, but I don't know that the author of the book drew inspiration from it. But it had the same idea. And I love The Neverending Story. It's such a good book. I should try to sculpt folklore. That'd be fun. But not like movie folklore, like the book folklore. Alright, we'll do a couple more on the arms. His little warts that are here and there. Of our very sad little guy. It's very good. I believe the original language was in German. I think it was German. But it is one of my favorite fantasy books. There is a movie. The movie is okay-ish. The sequels are absolutely horrible. Don't watch them. They're not horrible, but they are not the book in the remotest sense. But no, the book is amazing. I would love somebody to like do the book accurately. Um, and a lot of people who've seen the movie may be mad at me for saying that because I know a lot of people have nostalgia with the old Neverending Story movie. It's just it really missed out on a lot of the concepts that the book did, unfortunately. So I definitely would recommend book over movie. I mean, it's pretty normal, but I just really love the book. And my favorite segments of the book, I don't even think the movie touched. Because my favorite part is near the end. With the plant lady and the frozen man in the picture. But it's very good. It's kind of like a children's fairy tale, but it's very meaningful. It's a little bit dark. But it's very thoughtful, very meaningful. Definitely worth a read. And really fun to have as an audiobook. I re-listened to the audiobook version last year, I think. And I want to hunt down a nice hard copy of it. I like having beautiful hard copies of some of my favorite books. Add another little one right here. I'll make it a different size here. There we go. All right. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, that I should do sculptures and stuff from some of my favorite books. Because most of what I've been doing has been like video games and folklore, mythology kind of stuff, which is fine. I love doing that. But I am a massive fan of Redwall. I also have a ton of fantasy books like The Neverending Story that I love. And there's so many good descriptions and characters in them that I would love to attempt to bring to life. Another good one, though it's more younger audience, would be Phantom Tollbooth. I love that one too. That one's just a little bit silly. Neverending Story is much more dark and meaningful, I think. But the Phantom Tollbooth is fun. It's silly. Okay, we'll add some here. The nice thing about this guy is that I can use resin to create realistic looking tears for his eyes. It should be pretty effective. Should look pretty real. Smooth the skin out a bit right there. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to. There's even more. There's so many creatures in the Neverending Story that would be fun to do. Blend that in a little better. I'll put one right here. There we are. Okay. Now, do we need more little warts? Maybe do a couple more. Not on the face, though. I kind of like his face. I don't want to make it any worse. Okay. I think we'll do on the back of this ear. There we go. And do a tiny one on his foot. I think that'll be okay. And then we should be pretty much done. I have to smooth out a little bit of this, but I feel like there are so many good books in the world that I don't have the time to read all of them. I have been progressively going through fantasy stories, classics, children's classics, things that I have missed out on, and listening to them all are things that I only got to read parts of in school ages ago, but there's just so many. Audiobooks do help a lot, so I can listen to it while I'm at work. Let's put one right there. And then I think we're good on the words of our poor little ugly guy. Okay. Now I might. Do I have texture rollers? Hold on. Yes. This one. We can add some texture. I like that texture. It works. All right. Let me see, what else can we do? Our little guy. I think he might be pretty much done. So, this is our little Squonk with his very sad little face. Let's see if I can turn the camera away like this. So you can see the face a little better. Very sad. There we go. With his extremely loose, wrinkly skin, the warts, and some spots. I was debating about calling him a cryptid or a piece of folklore, but I think he's technically more folklore, because I always think of cryptids as having specific events and sightings related to them, and he does not. He was just included in a book of folktales. So, yeah, I think for now, we are done with our little Squonk. Thank you. I like the ears too. I was trying to make him look kind of sad. So I was designed the ears so I could bend him downward. But yeah, I think we're done for tonight. I appreciate you hopping in to say hi for a little bit. Smooth that out a little bit there. But yeah, next week we will be painting this little guy, and I have a whole week to think of what color he should be, because I honestly don't know. I know most people make him kind of skin tone-ish, but we shall see. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, and to anyone who watches the video later, I appreciate it so much. Let me know if there's other stuff you want to see me sculpt, and I hope that you have a lovely, lovely night.